Well, hello everyone. And welcome to my coal shop. Alright, and welcome. Today we're going to do a little bit of playing around with the Chevy. Now, remember in the previous episode I replaced the donut gasket on the front Fenton header on this engine. Well, guess what? Out right after I did the trunk or treat and out doing a nice long cruise Saturday morning, it blew out the rear one. The one that I said looked a little loose, so I tightened it up. In other words, I fixed it when it wasn't broke. Well, it blew out. So I'm going to replace that today. And I'm also going to, I decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to change out the advanced springs from the silver springs in that flamethrower, that Pertronix Flamethrower Ignition. And I'm going to go to the coppers, which will give me a quicker timing curve. Will invoke the timing sooner in the RPM range than the silvers do. I'm wanting to see if it'll give me a little bit more quickness, a little bit more pep. So anyway, oh, and one other thing. When I did the Halloween vlog, I didn't show that during the actual event because, well, that was that night and I had already published the video. So I put a little short thing here at the front to show you kind of what we were looking at, because it was pretty neat. We had a great time. I didn't win the award though. It went to someone with a Hallmark setup. What's that got to do with spooking? But anyway, all in fun, had a great time. So stay tuned and let's get busy. Alright, I didn't show you. It was all kind of the same old, just on the back side. I did try my springs and nuts, and the thread were SAE. And ironically, the thread on these Fentons are metric. Isn't that something? So they wouldn't, they were actually a smaller size too, so they wouldn't work. And and the springs were actually a little too big. I guess I could have maybe cut out a loop or two of the spring here, and perhaps it would have worked. But so the studs that came with them would not work, and the studs that I had that were longer here would not work either. So and then I remembered when I was putting this exhaust back together that I had the problem with the threads matching, because the Fentons are threaded. So well, there's the front one, and we'll get a good look at that. And actually, one of the lock bolts was missing on it, so I redone lock bolts on it on the bottom side to keep them from backing off, because it was loose. I mean, this thing sounded like oh, where did my focus and go? Come on, focus back. Alright, sorry about that. I must have hit my zoom button for some crazy reason or other. But what was I saying before I so rudely interrupted myself? But anyway, the springs wouldn't work, the studs wouldn't work, the longer studs that I have would not work, and to tell you the truth, these other than it originally what happened, what I believe, one of the lock nuts backed off, and allowed the front donut to loosen up just enough where and then it blew it out. I had crushed it some when I originally installed it though, so I think that just finished up the blowout. So I replaced now both of them, got new donuts, neither one are crushed in any manner, and we've got lock nuts on all 4 of the studs, 2 per header. So let's see if we can get more than what, 36 or 3,700 miles out of it. And that's where we're at, revisiting open header sounding 6-cylinder, which unfortunately doesn't sound as good as a V8. Isn't that something? Anyway. All right, I've decided I'm going to play with it. I can't help myself sometimes. But anyway, let's refer back here to the chart. And it's kind of hard to see with this small print. And right here, but right now we're running the silver springs, and I'll show you right here. See, that's right underneath the rotor button. That's pretty good. Yeah, all right. So we'll come back here. Okay, now, so we're running the silver springs, and they are the square, so they kick in. They start advancing at about 1,000 RPM, all right? And at about 1,500, they start kicking in. There's about 3 degrees of advance, and it goes on. You see how it starts at about 1,500 RPM, well, maybe 1,200 RPM. It starts raising. All right, if I go to the copper, which is this first line here, you notice right off 500, it starts applying some advance to where I'm at 2 degrees at about between, well, let's say 750 RPM. So I'm going to start advancing some if I go to those coppers right at idle. So we're going to try that. We may end up having to play with it some more, but I'm going to try them coppers just to see. Because you see it's got a lot sooner, it invokes the advance a whole lot sooner. All right, and I think that'll make me quicker. It doesn't go over total advance, but it does start it earlier in the RPM range. So let's see if we can, and it looks like it's easy enough to get those springs off. We'll see. And let's get to it. All right, the camera may bounce a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. See how easy to get that spring off. Look at that. That's real easy. He's off. Well, let's get the other one on first. We'll leave one on. We'll do one at a time. Put it in the bag. You probably can't see I'm off camera, but I'm actually getting the springs out. All right. Look in the bag there, you see there's 2 copper and 2 black. I'm going to pull the coppers out. All right. Okay. There's the copper on that one. All right, let's take the silver one off. Put him back in the bag. Alright. Let's get this other copper one out. I meant to turn that radio down. Sorry about that. Alright, let's see here. Well, I'll try another hook. I'll try my 90-degree hook. Almost had it. Alright, let's see here. There we go. I can definitely tell how it's easier, a lot easier to open. Alright, and didn't drop any in there. Very good. Tell you what, let's put it together and see how it starts. Normally these rotor buttons will only go on one way, a square peg and a round peg. And I just remembered which way it was pointing to. Okay. These are OEM type rotor buttons. Okay. And go. I better double check my firing order. Cool. Okay. 15, 36. 24. Okay, that's where we're at. All right. Things down. Well, now that it'll advance a lot quicker, let's see how it starts. I won't run it long because I've got I got the shop closed up. All right, school's about to let out, so I'm going to have school buses and everything out there. So we'll hold off a little bit, then we're going to take it out there for a test drive. First impression, seemed like it started easier. That's one good thing. Seems like it's idling higher because it's got more advance, and I'll know that. I guess I could turn it around and let it warm up. Yeah, we might do that. Turn it around, let it warm up, and see what kind of timing we got at idle. Because I bet you it's going to be higher than the 12 degrees I was set at before. Because it's going to invoke. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We will see. But so far, first impression, seems like it started easier. Alright, we're not fully warmed up yet. But the idle is not faster than it was. That's about where it was with the silver spring. So hopefully we're not getting that any advance. I'm going to let it warm up a little more and we'll see how the idle goes, and then I'll check the timing to see if it's still at about 12 degrees advance. But so far it's looking good at idle. But we're not warm yet. There we go. I think that's a better shot. Still can't really see. But it's right on the line. Right smack dab on it. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you can see or not. Alright, y'all have seen me do it before. You can look back at some of my older vlogs, but what I've done is it definitely, once it warmed up, it idled up about 100 more RPM. All right, so what I've done is I've changed the idle down. I put my snail gauge on there and made sure my carburetors are balanced because I had to take them down, and I decided to go all the way down to 600 this time instead of 650. So that time, the timing light tag is kind of, it kind of wavers some, but it's basically around 600. So I'm gonna try around 600 now, and it just seems a whole lot smoother when I do manually do an acceleration. And my timing's right at 12 degrees before top dead center at 600 RPM. I think when I raise that RPM, it's invoking the, it's giving me a more of a timing curve. It's invoking the mechanical timing sooner, and that along with the vacuum may give me a little bit more pep. I don't know when I do a test run here, but like I said a little earlier, school buses are letting out, and well, you just can't really do any testing around that. And the little kids out playing, so we will get this out and do a test run, but right now, he's sounding pretty good. He's hitting every lick. All right, but we'll know the ultimate test how it does at low speed idle, at low speed cruising, because my problem was when I advanced it too much, is that I had great acceleration, but my cruising at about between 20 and 35 mile an hour, I had this little surge, like almost a miss. So we'll see if it does that. All right. Well, all right, I took it out for a quick little cruise, maybe about a mile or so, but I had some sharp turns, I had a couple hills to climb, and I had a straightaway at low speed, and I had a high speed straightaway. So I had some pretty good mix of everything. Man, I tell you what, the seat of the pants says that is improved performance of this engine. Now, I'll know more when I take it out for a longer cruise, and I'll take you along with me on that, but that'll be tomorrow. Like I said, now traffic's picking up, kids out of school, out there playing. Now, we can't do any testing like that. But anyway, seat of the pants says, yes, it's quicker, especially out of the hole. It's just no hesitation at all, no missing at all. It's just smooth and just accelerating from 0 on up. I ran it up to about 60, no problem. I cruised at 30, no problem. And that's the main thing, because I mainly cruise between 30 to 45, somewhere around in there, and that's where I wanted to add the smoothest. And I couldn't really cruise at that around this little loop I did, but I did do about a 30, and it was all right. And if it does good on 30, it should do good in my sweet zone. And that donut, that fixed it. 2 new donuts, and we should be good for at least another 3,600 miles anyway. And 600 RPM is too low. I had to up it back up to 650. It's amazing the difference 50 RPM does. But unfortunately, it's just too much of a lope. You feel it in the truck. I mean, if I was about 30, 40 years younger, I'd probably get turned on by that. I'd probably have cherry bombs or thrush mufflers on this thing too, you know, so I could hear it and feel it rumbling and everything. But I don't know. I like stuff a little bit on the smoother side anymore. So I upped the idle a little bit more. Timing's good. That 38 degrees advanced. I don't know. Jury's still out. We'll see more on that as we go. We'll also have to compare mileage and, you know, mile per gallon, how quick I can get up to speed. But it's more peppier. I can tell you that right now. That timing curve kicking in earlier like that is really an improvement. So I mean, because, you know, with this engine, you know, maybe 150, maybe 160 horsepower, somewhere around in there. And, you know, the run out here in normal traffic, you got to be able to be a little quick. So I think he's peppier more. But anyway, we'll see more when we do us a long-term cruise here. Hopefully tomorrow. I got to do some running tomorrow. You know, I ought to do it in this. Stay tuned. Alright, I'm only about 5 miles into the cruise, and I've already got a good couple of good impressions to pass along. Seems like it started about the same. It's never been a problem starting. Low speed coming out of a corner or initially accelerating is vastly improved. Having that advance kick in sooner has definitely helped with performance. And here comes a turn that I'm going to take that's going to put that to the test. Alright, so we got to slow down. We're going to do a one-handed dude here. Oh yeah, vast improvement. No hesitation, no slip, nothing. Now I've gone to high gear going up this incline a little sooner, and it's just pulling it. I think having that additional timing and the lower RPM where this thing starts making its torque is a big advantage. Now, if between 1,000 RPM and 2,000 RPM, if I floor it, it accelerates fine. I mean, it's about the same. It doesn't seem to be any different from the standard point distributor or this distributor with the silver springs, because it does accept, but it's not any push you back in the seat acceleration. If I was to floor it now, see, it's building up, but it just doesn't overwhelm you. But with that said, from 2,000 RPM up, you can definitely feel it. I think these copper springs are a good match to that cam. You know, with the cam I have in it, if you're new to my channel, or if you haven't seen my earlier videos or vlogs, the cam I have in this 235 is a what's called a 264 3/4 race cam. Now, basically what that means is it has higher lift, longer duration, and more overlap. Okay, it's designed to get more to, look at that high gear coming around that bend. All right, now I'm about to go up an incline. Basically, it's designed for better performance at the higher RPM than the stock cams would provide. Stock cams in these engines are low RPM torque beasts. Okay, this cam that I put in here is more of a higher RPM, higher speed cam, and you would sometimes sacrifice your low end torque when you go to one of these. That means you got to up your RPMs to get the same pulling power. Well, apparently with the springs, I'm gonna go up a second, with these springs, I'm getting real good pulling power now at lower RPM. Again, it's not anything to not, you know, plant you back in the seat, but it's definitely accelerating, going uphill, and but between 1,000 RPM and 2,000 RPM, it will put you back a little bit. I mean, you know, it's not, I mean, it's a 235, okay? And it's not, you know, this is not a V8 or a bored out, you know, slant 6 or Ford 300, you know, or even a 292 Chevy. You know, those 6 bangers are designed to get you some power. But it's pretty good. I think this is a very good setting for this engine. But right now we're in low speed cruising, or going around the mountain. You know, this is where I do about 30, 35. I'm not feeling that surge or that miss, and that's a good thing. So I don't have too much timing. And let me see, because I'm basically around, boy, I'm hitting more traffic today. I'm basically hanging out between 1,000 RPM and 1,500 RPM. So look at this, I'm pulling this hill, high gear. No problem at all. So I doubt if I'll do a high speed on it, because well, every time I do a high speed, I take it up there between 70 and 80, my speedometer gets noisier. I'm afraid it's about to blow out if I do it again. So till I'm ready to have it rebuilt, I'm not going to be taking it up to that speeds. Anyway, that's some impressions. I'll have a few more, but now I'm gonna sit back and listen to some jams. I got my Halloween mix out, and I got my regular classic rock, classic country, little bit of soul, just basically what you can call Americana music now that I'm going to enjoy whilst I cruise. So anyway, be back. Yeah, that's this cam. Those copper springs and this cam are a great combination. I can feel it wakes up at 2,000 RPM, and to above 3,000 RPM, I can feel it's just stronger. And it's stronger at lower RPM when I'm pulling out of when I'm first pulling out, or pulling out of a turn, or pulling up a hill in high gear. I can feel that power. So that additional timing is definitely an advantage that this is giving me. The only drawback I have, the only concern I have, is that I may be getting too much advance at the higher RPMs. And I think I may put those limiters on, but we'll see. So far, man, it's doing good. Real good. All right, here comes a big test for Stuart. We're gonna go up a big hill. The 216 would not pull it in high gear. The 235 with the regular distributor wouldn't pull it in high gear. The 235 with the silver springs would. Let's see what these copper springs will do. You can see it slowing down. But he's pulling. I can hear the valves. Oh, I hear them valves. Too much, all right, too much time, and I settled back. Okay, there we go. All right, it did it. I think that pretty much told me I'm going to have to put them limiters on, but it pulled it. Ooh, them valves were clanking. That's the first I've heard them valves clank all day on this test run. Of course, I don't hardly ever run into this. I really don't come this way because of that climb. But anyway, I needed to for the test. So anyway, there we go. It pulled it, and I even had the lid up so the valves would stop clanking, and it pulled it good. So yes, flying colors it passed. Carry on. All right, that's going to stick a fork in this episode, or this vlog. That Pertronix Flamethrower distributor with those copper springs installed is bringing out more out of this engine than I have gotten out of it in any previous modification I've done to it. It's really dry. It's really powering very good. Low speed, no hesitation, plenty of power to pull out, coming out through a turn, going up to second gear, pulling out, no problem. Going around slight curves in high gear, low speed, don't even have to downshift. After I get to 2,000 RPM and I floor it, it will put you back in the seat a little bit. You can feel the cam. That's where the cam is really starting to kick in, is between 2,000 RPM and up. And at that point, you cruising around 2,000 RPM, you're doing at least 40 mile an hour, and you're wanting to pass somebody, or you just wanting to accelerate, bang, it's there. It's going to do it. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not a race truck. It's not going to get out here and run with these pocket rockets or nothing like that, because that's not what it's designed to. But as far as getting the performance out of how I've got it now, I think this is about the optimum I've ever had it since I've rebuilt that engine and put it in. So I'm very happy with it. The copper springs with my engine setup is the way you want to go. Now, if you're running a stock 235 one barrel single exhaust and you go with this flamethrower distributor, you would probably go ahead and try the silver springs first to see how it does, and then you may even would go back to the black springs, which would possibly put it more in line with what the stock distributor is. But I'd try the silvers first. If you got a setup like mine, hot cam, twin carbs, dual exhaust, just save yourself some trouble. Go with the coppers, because the performance, you feel the difference in it. All right, and let's see. The exhaust did good. It held, so I guess I'm all right there. So anyway, take it easy. Have a good one. And I guess it's time to start preparing for Thanksgiving. We'll see you.